Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Custom Schedule Edition here tonight, once again, this time back in the Truck Series. We are heading down to the wire for the season championship, and as you look at the middle, well, I should say the right side of your screen, the upper right side of the screen, wherever it is for you guys, Bobby Hamilton Sr. leads the point standings. That's the driver we are racing as, the driver that you guys voted for me to run way back in the season opener at Daytona a few weeks ago. Carl Edwards has closed that gap mightily over the last couple races. He's got 2 wins in the last 4 races so far, including 2 races ago at Texas, where he gained a ton on Bobby Hamilton due to Bobby Hamilton finishing 18th in that very race. It was a 33-point lead, but then Bobby Hamilton Sr. went out, had a great day, a second-place run, and Carl Edwards had a 6th place finish at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway 2 nights ago, which now has opened that gap up a little bit more once again. It's a 58-point lead for Bobby Hamilton Sr. over Carl Edwards. Brandon Witt still sits in third. He's got 3 wins on the year. He had a DNF, though, in the last race. Otherwise, he would be right there in the thick of things as well. He finished dead last, no laps led. In fact, it was lap 2 where he blew an engine at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, so that really put him behind the 8 ball. Travis Kvapil's got a few DNFs this year as well. He's actually got no wins, which he's the only driver in the top 6 in points without a win so far this season. But he's been very consistent. He can still finish as high as he can still obviously win a championship. It's probably going to take a DNF out of both Carl Edwards and Bobby Hamilton to get anybody else in the mix. But if both those drivers have a DNF, it's going to be a 6-horse race for the championship in these final 9 races. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get into today's race at the Old Spice Speedway. 133 laps, 200 miles will be set on tap for the Cheese Wheel 200. Billy Kramer, Tim Irvin, Patrick Shanley, welcome into the chat here in the early going. We're about to hop into the race. I will not be practicing, but I will be qualifying for this race today. So we'll see how we can fare. Races we have remaining on the schedule would include Charlotte, Bristol, Kansas are the next 3. The next 3 after that would be Watkins Glen, Indianapolis Raceway Park, Red Ball Raceway, and then Homestead and Daytona to round things out for the final 8 races once the checkered flag flies in tonight's race. As you see, we're on the road to Daytona. Down below, 34 days until the Daytona 500. I will be there in person. We'll be having live commentary in 20 days for the Busch Clash. That will be our first major stream of the season, to say the least. That is a highly anticipated event, to say the least. Actually I don't know. I'm going to drop the air pressure down to 21 here, just see how it feels for qualifying. Thought about adjusting the wedge, but it's kind of weird with the road courses in this game, where if you adjust the wedge, let's say you tighten it up, it tightens it up on the left-handed turns, but then it's super loose on the right-handed turns, and vice versa. If you were to loosen it up, it would tighten it up on the right-handed turns, it'd be super loose on the left-handed turns. It's very strange. You can't really work on the wedge in this game when it comes to the road courses. Really doesn't benefit you at all. It seems to only hurt you. We got our first bot down in the chat. We haven't even started the race yet. Hamilton sliding the tires, getting back to the gas in that U-turn in turn number 3. There's a couple hairpin corners, a couple different passing opportunities on this racetrack, a couple longer straightaways as well. And I'm sure we're going to have a great race today. Had a great race on this game yesterday, though. It was in the Busch Series season opener at Daytona, the custom schedule season there. Last lap pass for the win for Greg Biffle over Dale Earnhardt Jr. And just a crazy race in general. There were a lot of different situations that were playing out. It was a fuel mileage race there for a little bit till that last caution with 5 laps to go. Then we had a green-white checker of a 1-lap shootout to the finish. We thought that the race could have ended under yellow, but it didn't. We had a 1-lap shootout, and that led to the dramatic finish that we ended up seeing there. And it was building up to be dramatic because there were a lot of lead changes in the final dozen laps before that caution as well. Definitely a good race, to say the least. A couple big ones throughout that luckily we were nowhere around when they happened, including one on lap 6. First lap of the start-finish line for Bobby Hamilton will be Pole time, 46.158. That is good enough. Hamilton not even going to run his second lap, so he will be starting on the pole here tonight. Looking to see where Carl Edwards qualified on the top of your screen. 16th is where Carl Edwards qualifies for tonight's race. So he will be starting mid-pack while Bobby Hamilton, the points leader, will be starting at the front of the field. Green flag is in the air. 133 laps on this road course. It's going to be probably the longest truck race of the season. Into turn one, Hamilton is clear. Brandon Wood, who qualified on the outside of the front row, will hold on to second, clearing in turn two on Travis Quaffle, who qualified third. I would assume this will likely be a 2 pit stop race today, but we'll have to just wait and see. Hamilton already trying to gap him in the early going. Hamilton has won 7 of the 14 races completed so far this season, though only 2 wins in the last 8 races. So he has definitely slowed up quite a bit into the middle portion of the season. Hate it when you watch a hockey game. It'll be a blowout. So I turned it off and find out went into a shootout. Yeah, I mean, it's like that with any sports, though, right? You think the game's over, and then it's really not. And that's why I try to watch as long as I possibly can until I know for a fact that it's over, which really, I mean, it could be a 3-goal game, for instance, and I won't go to bed until there's probably 2 minutes left in the game. Just enough to see that the other team isn't pulling their goalie. It's like, okay, they pretty much mailed it in, too. Because it's really never safe. Same thing goes with football. If it's like a 3-possession game even, if it's still within 3 possessions, I won't stop watching the game until about 4 or 5 minutes left. Just because you never know, and I have seen some crazy comebacks. I mean, even in NASCAR, too, obviously a caution can come out any given time, set up a restart. Even if there isn't a caution, you see circumstances last year like at Pocono where Kyle Larson seemed to have it in the bag. Then he blew a tire on the final corner of the race. Or Kyle Larson again in that first Atlanta race when Ryan Blaney just flat out ran him down. I mean, you could have turned it off halfway through the race thinking Kyle Larson was going to win, and Blaney just ran him down in the final 10 laps. Seemingly out of nowhere. Not the longest truck race of the season as far as mileage necessarily. There are a couple 250-mile races that we have already ran this year, and we'll still have a couple more left this season. But this is the longest truck race as far as elapsed time goes. I can guarantee this race will go a little bit over an hour and a half, I'd have to imagine. Or right around there. Able to lock the tires up a little bit. He's got a 1.4 second lead already to lap 5. He's led every lap so far. Well, nice to see your losing streak's over, Billy. Back in your winning ways. I actually played Madden last night, Madden 06. Continued that tournament. Ended up winning a couple games. I went into overtime against the Browns and won 34-28. And there was only like 29 seconds left in overtime. I thought I was going to tie. We both had 2 possessions, and we both ended up having to punt the ball in overtime, and I just broke one open on a out route. Ran down the sideline, got into the end zone with like 29 seconds to spare. Then there was another game I played before that. I played the Steelers. I won 17-3. Again, Hamilton gradually blowing out his lead, or blowing up his lead. Right as I said that, he brushes the guardrail on the outside of turn 6. Turn 7, rather. This is an 8-turn road course. Bots are going crazy down in the chat tonight. Hopefully you guys are too. This is going to be a fun battle to the championship as long as Hamilton and Edwards don't DNF this season. Or if they do DNF, if both of them DNF, then it's going to be an even crazier points battle because you're going to have 6 drivers that are all in the hunt. One of which being Casey Cook, a generated driver who does have a win this year. He pulled off the upset in the season opener at Daytona, leading only the final lap, but he still had a good, consistent season. He strung together some top 10s here and there, and he's sitting 6th in the point standings, where he isn't that far, in reality, out of 3rd. Michael, you're pretty good with the fuel mileage in these older EA games, of knowing it out of the gate. Do you know exactly or right around how much we can go on fuel at Old Spice Speedway for the truck series? The truck series is hard to tell in this game because you can usually go a little bit longer on fuel in this game in the truck series than what you can even in the Cup series. So it's hard to tell how that plays out. Like, we might only be able to go 30 to 40 laps here in the Busch series, but the trucks we could probably go 55, 60 if, that was about the window. It's very strange. Like, even Daytona last night for the Busch series, it was a 3-stop race, pitting every pretty much 35 to 40 laps roughly, just shy of 40 laps. That's what made it a 3-stop race, even with 5 cautions. But then as we worked our way into the truck race, it was a 100-lap race instead of 120, so only 20 laps shorter, and it was only a 1-stopper, or you would think it'd be a 2. Yeah, I guess the air pressure was the right move with the setup. I just like to lower the air pressure because it gives me more grip. Because these older EA Sports games are kind of tough on the handling sometimes. Now, it could make for a tighter race truck or race car on the long run. It could be a little stiff on the long run, but on the short runs, you have a lot of grip, and as it is with the fresh tires, but it feels like you have even more downforce and more grip because of it. So I usually like to run a lower air pressure. And then as it builds up, it tends to not want to get too tight over the long run unless you put it down way too low. Field is slowly starting to string apart. It looks like towards the front of the field as you look to the upper right-hand corner of the screen where the track map is. But then from the middle of the pack on back, it is still a cluster. On lap 11. Truck Series has mellowed out into the middle portion of the season where we haven't been seeing that many cautions. Most of these races, we've really only been seeing about 1 yellow. We only saw 1 caution at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway in the last race, but boy, was it a big crash in turn 1 where championship contender Carl Edwards had gotten turned in turn 1, and then as he came back down the racetrack, Chad Chafin in the 18, Bobby Hamilton Sr.'s teammate, had hit the left front of Edwards' race truck, and it actually knocked him up and over, and he was sliding on his roof into turn 2. A couple other cars obviously piled in after the fact, so a big wreck on a half-mile triangular short track there. And that was the only caution of the day. There were a couple stack-ups early because of those blown engines we saw in the first 10 laps as well, so it was definitely a crazy race all the way throughout. Had a really good finish for Hamilton, had fresher tires at the end because he pitted under that last caution with about 50 to go and was trying to make up time on Bill Lesser, but Lesser was instead able to hold on and get his first win of the season after dominating and leading over half the race. If Bobby Hamilton could go on to lead 103 laps today, he will have eclipsed the 1,000 lap lead mark. So it is possible that he can lead 1,000 laps on the season today in just the first 15 races, which is not only impressive of itself, but then you can figure into the fact that it's the Truck Series, so the races aren't as long. There's not as many laps as say the Cup Series, well, half as many really. That is a very, very impressive feat. And the fact that he's only got a 58-point lead in the standings is also a testament to Carl Edwards and how good of a season he has had. He's got 5 less wins than Bobby Hamilton, but the consistency is just as good. Luke Seltzer, welcome to the stream. Am I racing as real drivers? Yes, there are some fantasy drivers in this game, in the older EA games. In fact, in the Truck Series, there's very few real drivers in this game. I think there's like maybe a dozen at the most that are real. Bobby Hamilton is a real driver. He actually has 2 career Cup wins, I believe. One of which at Talladega in 2002. That race went caution-free. Maybe the best caution-free race in NASCAR history, if you ask me. That I've seen, at least. Highly recommend going back to watch that one if you were wondering. And then obviously Carl Edwards, we know, being in the Cup Series for a long period of time. In his first Truck Series season here for 2004 in this game. And Hamilton's not really blowing everybody away right now. Obviously, he's leading and he's pulling away, but he's only got about a 2.5 second lead after 15 laps on a road course. So while he does have a good race truck, you could also say the same for the drivers inside the top 5 behind him, like Brandon Witt, Travis Quaffle. You also wonder if Carl Edwards has made his way through the pack at all after qualifying 16th. Edwards has not finished outside the top 6 since the season opener at Daytona, which is why he's second in the point standings with the 2 wins this year and competing for a championship. Of course, we won the championship with Carl Edwards in our first season. You guys voted for me to race as him, but then season 2, you voted for me to race as Bobby Hamilton, and sure enough, we're competing against Edwards now for the championship. So there is a possibility Edwards can win both championships in this game. He has 4 Winston Cup wins. Yeah, I know he passed away. I didn't remember exactly what year it was, but I guess you're saying 07. I do remember of that. Alright, I guess he's got 4 wins in the Cup Series. I was thinking he had 2. A lot of those were probably before my time anyway. I think his last one was at Talladega, though, correct? In 2002. The same Square D paint scheme. Not the same number, though. The 81 car, I believe. Was it 81 or 55? It might have been 55 now that I think about it. There was an 81 Square D car as well, but I think that was when Kenny Wallace drove it. Drove that sponsor in the Cup Series. It could have been. I don't know. I really don't know. It's either 81 or 55. I started to second guess myself there, and now I don't know. I wouldn't have been old enough to remember watching it, so that's probably why I don't know 100%. I know I've seen that race before, though. Like on YouTube. Wasn't old enough to watch it live. Or at least remember watching it live. I would have only been like 2 or 3 years old. I'd be lying to you if I said I remembered it. All it takes is one caution to bunch the field back up again, and maybe a caution in a weird spot to make this a fuel mileage race as well, if it isn't already one. At 3 caution-free races this year, you would imagine with this being a road course that it won't go caution-free, but it seems to space out a little more here than at other road courses on this game. For instance, Watkins Glen, we had 7 cautions, and that's still the most cautions we've had to race so far this season. It was the second race of the year. I highly doubt we're going to see that many, although I guess you never know. We're already caution-free through the first 20. Definitely not pacing for a day like that. It's our second road course race of the season and our second different road course. We do have one more road course race coming up in 4 races as we go back to Watkins Glen for the second time this year. Hamilton drove the 55 for 0102. That's right. So I guess it was good that I second guessed myself because that was my second guess. Kenny Wallace would have been in the 81. I remember that because he was the one that pushed Dale Sr. to his final win in 2000 at Talladega, and that was the 81 Square D car, so that's why I was a little confused. I was like, well, maybe it was the 81 because Hamilton won 2 years later at Talladega in that same sponsor. Or with the same sponsor, I should say. Oh, you're right. It was 2001. My bad, not 2002. You're right. It was the first restrictor plate race after Dale Sr. passed away. Now I remember that. So I would have been 2 years old then when I saw it, so I definitely wouldn't have remembered it live. Lap times are definitely falling off for Bobby Hamilton, but obviously they are for everybody else as the tires start to wear on. This lap was a 47.043, about 0.8 of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. And it's only been 23 laps into the run. 3.3 second lead now for Hamilton. So he's expanded that lead about 0.6 of a second over the last 7 laps. We'll see as this run grows further and further if maybe anybody else could try to close in on the Ford truck. Maybe Bobby Hamilton doesn't have as good of a long run race truck. They can make it 67 laps on the opening run on fuel, then it will be a one-stop race today. So far, Hamilton has not hit halfway on fuel. We're at lap 24. So realistically, you're looking at about lap 34 for him to hit halfway on fuel to be pacing to make it on one stop. It's like there's a slow truck working his way into the next couple corners ahead of Bobby Hamilton. Caution's out. And I believe it's because of the slow traffic up ahead. I saw him stacking up on the track map. And now the caution ends up coming out a little bit after the fact. So looks like a couple trucks stalled out. The 163 of Aaron McGee was probably trying to get into the pit lane. To do that, he would have had to move to the outside. That ended up cutting off the 119. The 119 truck of Keith Grimsley stalls out, and that is our first caution. Hamilton going to stay out of the pits as the leader. We'll see how that will work itself out. Again, our first caution, lap 24. This will help save some fuel for all these drivers out on the racetrack. Crew chief did not say that everybody else pit, so my guess is everybody stayed out. Green flag back in the air, lap 28. Travis Quaffle nails the restart to the inside of the 38, but the 38 tries to throw the block into turn number 1. Quaffle is there. He is underneath, and now he had to go to the outside, and that slipped up, and now Quaffle may lose a position now into turn 3. But Quaffle sends it on the inside, back underneath of Brandon Witt. And again, they run side by side for second. That's going to allow Bobby Hamilton to pull away at the front of the field. And he opens up about a 4 to 5 truck length lead into the final set of corners. Quaffle has cleared the 38 truck now. And Quaffle is up to second place and drives it deep into the final corner. And he's within a couple truck lengths of the 4 of Bobby Hamilton, who's led every lap so far. Seem like you're getting the most out of your equipment on that career mode, Billy. Star Equipment, he had a good run at Canadian Tire, and now at Bristol. I don't think Hamilton's quite as good on old tires compared to what he is on fresher tires, considering the fact he's not really pulling away at all from Quaffle and Witt. And I almost wonder if maybe that's because Quaffle could also be a little bit quicker than Brandon Witt. Witt may have been holding him back at the beginning of the race. Restart allowed for the 24 truck to gain a spot finally. Southern Farms, welcome to the stream. Like the name of the track, Old Spice Speedway, yes. It reminds me of Tony Stewart's paint scheme with both the Busch Series at the time and then also the 14 car when he ran the Old Spice paint schemes from time to time. Around 2009, 2010-ish. Of course, this was way before that. At least a few years before the Busch Series days for Stewart running that paint scheme. Hamilton slid the tires down onto the apron into turn 3 there. Definitely tell he's starting to lose some grip. Well, so now it's going to be interesting because of that timing caution. Everybody's staying out of the pits. They're probably going to have to go just past lap 34 to guarantee that they'll make it on fuel on just one pit stop. Bobby Hamilton, by the way, just ran his fastest lap of the race. He picked up, seemingly out of nowhere, 46.197. About a tenth of a second faster than his previous fastest lap, which was one of the first couple laps of the race. Not sure where he pulled that out of. Fresher tires. But he did, and that allowed him to gap the 24 of Quaffle. I like how there's a ton of Old Spice banners around this racetrack, too. As if you didn't know it was Old Spice Speedway. There it is on the bridge. There it is on the rocks on the side over here. There's 3 billboards. Where else are we going to see it? There it is on pit road entrance. There's about 7 or 8 billboard signages on the side. There it is on the exit of the pit lane into this final U-turn. There's a bunch of Old Spice banners. They went all out with this track in this game. Surprised they don't have it on the front of the bridge. There's the Old Spice Tower. There's the Old Spice banners on the side of turn 1. And you're going to see it on the hotel back here on the back stretch. There's a billboard. There was a water tower looking thing that had it. I guess it's not on the hotel in the back. They got signage everywhere. Old Spice Speedway. You can definitely tell who sponsored this racetrack. I'd say they got more out of this than what Lowe's Motor Speedway got out of, or what Lowe's got out of Charlotte Motor Speedway back in the 2000s into the early 2010s. Waffles picked up a little bit. Hamilton has also kind of dropped off. Not sure how he ran that 46.197. But it seems like Travis Quaffle has definitely closed in on the Ford truck just a bit as he pulls away from Witt behind him. Already one caution so far today. None of the tires have worked their way into the yellow area on the telemetry pop-up that we get on the upper right-hand corner of the screen as well. So Hamilton's definitely been taking good care of his tires since the start of the race. He's done a great job not really locking it up in the corners at all. Obviously, he hasn't had a whole lot of pressure with leading every lap of this race, so that definitely helps. And he's had a manageable gap. He hasn't had a gigantic lead. His largest lead is only about 3.5 seconds, but obviously it's close enough that there hasn't been any issues. And now we get our second caution of the day at lap 37. Caution number 2. A spin in the final corner and a pretty hard hit into that concrete wall on the outside of turn 8. Tough to tell who's involved. I believe that's Jack Sprigg in the 16, and it looks like he just kind of lost it on his own. Maybe he got shot from behind. I'm not really entirely sure is what the case was there. Bobby Hamilton going to stay out of the pits again. And it seems as if everybody else has also stayed out of the pits during our second caution of the race already tonight. Both coming only 14 laps apart from each other. Green flag is back in the air once again at the Old Spice Speedway at lap 41. And Quaffle nailed the last restart to go from third to second. Can he get to the lead this time? Or can Brandon Witt get his spot back on the 24? Hamilton trying to block Quaffle. Into turn 2. Quaffle going to go wide. Nearly gets out into the grass. He's going to go wide now in turn 3 as well, and Brandon Witt charges to the inside, trying to retake second place. Side by side for second still. Quaffle clear into turn 7. Heavy braking zone into turn 8. We'll see if Quaffle can get back around Brandon Witt. Caution again on the restart, our third of the day. Into that final corner again in turn number 8. Wow, that was an awkward spin. He must have gotten spun out of the... You'd have to assume somebody turned down into him from the outside. I think that was Benny Allen in the 110 truck that had turned the 164 of Andy Lyman, bringing out another caution. So now Bobby Hamilton is thinking about it. He's going to pit. Not sure what the fuel window is here, but this is interesting. Gravedigger, welcome to the stream. The track is eerie. So this is going to give the lead to Travis Quaffle. This is very interesting because Bobby Hamilton is pitting from the lead. He's going to give up track position. We've seen a bunch of cautions transpire here in the middle portion of the race. That's our third, and all 3 have come since lap 24. That was just the first lap after the restart where that one happened. Joshua Rumsey, welcome to the stream as well. Four tires, no adjustments, and a full tank of fuel for the Ford truck of Bobby Hamilton, and he's thinking that maybe we can make it to the end of the race from here. Haven't hit halfway on fuel yet. We were at lap 41 when that caution went. Now, granted, we have had 3 cautions in the race already, so that's helping him save a little bit of gas on that first run. But why not take on the fresh tires? The only thing you really you're putting yourself at risk is if we get another caution and restart, which we've seen a couple times now, that he may not be able to miss it. So it is definitely a gamble to pit and give up the lead. Track position is always a big factor and a big key on road courses. We'll see how he can do. Green flag back in the air. Oh, stacking up at the rear of the field. Into that final corner and back to the start-finish line. Field spacing out into turn 1. Hamilton looking to go to work on fresh tires. Three wide for Hamilton. Underneath the 107 and the 56, it's Mark Handel and Scott Bush. Big move to the inside. Scott Bush going to pull the block down. Hamilton had to lock the tires up to keep it off the back bumper of the 56. Did a great job doing so, but now he's 3 wide off the exit of the corner, and they better get filed out before they get into turn 1. They are not going to get filed out yet. Hamilton sends it into the first turn, trying to clear the trucks around him. He cleared Bush, but Bush crossed him back over. Whoever that truck was on the outside, though, was cleared by Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton did a great job keeping it out of the grass. Hamilton definitely trying to make his passes as cleanly as he possibly can. Sends it into that final braking zone, passes 3 race trucks, and there you see Carl Edwards at the back. He is struggling right now. He had a top 5 at Watkins Glen earlier this season. Actually finished 2nd place. And he is in 27, looking to make a pass on the 113. Caution! Turn 2, truck in the wall. That is Carl Richards in the 106. Our 4th yellow of the race. He took a hard hit into the guardrail. Kind of got stuck up in the grass a little bit. May have had some contact. And that's what we were just talking about. The danger of restarting towards the back of the pack. Now we'll see if everybody else is going to pit here. Caution again at lap 47, our 4th of the race. I said we weren't going to get 7 today with how the race started. We're going 24 laps caution free, but now we've had 4 yellows the next 24 laps after we went caution free for 24 laps. And Bobby Hamilton's going to pit again. Everybody else is staying out. He is going to take more fuel, more tires. Why not? You get 4 sets. It's going to be a 2nd. And in case he has to pit again later, he still will have 2 more sets. So he's going to be even better on fuel to try and stretch it to the end. And again, all these cautions we get is only going to help him more and more as well. But again, he's going to be back in traffic, and about those 6 positions he gained in those first couple laps on the restart on those fresher tires, he's going to have to get back again. You just got to hope that you're not in the way of the carnage when it comes up to be. 4 tires again, full tank of fuel, or at least top it off on fuel. He really only ran about 3 laps there, and no adjustments to the Ford truck of Bobby Hamilton. Playing a full season of NASCAR 2001 on the PS2. I could say I've never played that game. Thunder Road 2 was the first game I ever played. The oldest game, too. See, John Thompson, I'm guessing that was another bot, I'd assume. If not, welcome to the stream, but I'm assuming it was a bot. I missed it. So a couple trucks out of the race with Hamilton lining up in 34th. One truck is in the pit lane as we speak. That's very interesting. Maybe blew an engine under the caution. We've seen cautions all over the racetrack. It's not like Watkins Glen where most of them were in the bus stop. We had 7 cautions and 6 of them were in the bus stop in that race. This one, we've seen a wreck in turn 2. We saw 2 cautions in that final corner in turn number 8. This is very interesting. Lap 51 restart. There's the passes in turn 8 for Bobby Hamilton. Even fresher tires than before. Probably ran about 12 caution laps in this race, so he's looking at about 40 lap fresher tires on the rest of the field right now. Trying to make up this ground into turn 1. Going to make a pass. Scott Bush side by side with that 135 truck. Still side by side there. Hamilton can go all the way down to the apron trying to make the pass on both of them. He's clear. Both those hairpin corners, those U-turns, left-handers, seem to be the best corners on the track for Bobby Hamilton with these fresh tires. I'm not so nervous about the 49ers, honestly. I was actually hoping the 49ers would win because I was more scared of the Rams if we would have had to play Los Angeles next week, to be completely honest. That Stafford knows the Packers defense. He played them a bunch in the NFC North with the Lions. So I would have been more nervous if we played the Rams over the 49ers. So bring it on, San Francisco. They've got a really tough defense. But if it gets into a shootout, there is just no way they can keep up with Rodgers. I just don't see it happening. Packers' rush defense isn't very good. It's a mainly rushing team. That's how the 49ers did win against the Packers a couple years ago in that divisional round playoff game. That was LaFleur's first season as coach. Carl Edwards in the 99 looking to make a pass. A little contact in turn 8 up ahead. Hamilton sends it into the corner, though, and makes the pass on Edwards. Checks up behind Chris Sweeney. So Edwards is in 25th. He has just had a poor performance after a not-so-hot qualifying effort, but he's running way worse in the race than what he has in qualifying. The good news is there's no stage points back in 2004, so it's solely going to be based off of the actual finish. There is time, and maybe he can strategize his way to get up there, but the actual speed in the racetrack is definitely not there for Cousin Carl. Hamilton already up to 23rd. Nobody has pit since the restart. Went green at lap 52. So this would be about an 82-lap run to the checker flag on this fuel tank. Maybe Hamilton can make it, maybe he can't. Just have to wait and see. I don't think the cautions are done yet either. See if we can get back to another green flag run. Oh boy. Or this is just going to turn into a 2020s like truck race. Could be possible. Well, contact, by the way, between Shane Kirkland and Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton gets by with the pass. Sends it in on Troy Perry. Gets to the inside of Perry in the 116. And it looks like he'll have him cleared for 20th. Into turn 1, sending it on Billy Wilson in the 82 truck. Makes the pass on him into turn 2. Jack Sprague, who was involved in one of the cautions, caution number 2 to be exact, is in the middle now because Hamilton takes it 3 wide to the apron in turn 3 and passes 2 more trucks to move to 17. Waffles led every lap since Hamilton pit during the second caution. Third caution, rather, was when Hamilton pit, not the second. Hamilton led the first 37 laps. So this is allowing Quaffle to lead a decent amount of laps. Can he challenge for the most laps led? It's going to be dependent on when the rest of the field is going to end up pitting. And obviously Hamilton, we don't even know if he can make it to the end of fuel or not. Just have to wait and see. Contact with Bob Spear. Hamilton still stays to the inside of Spear. He'll be on the outside in turn 7, but then he'll be back on the inside into that sharp hairpin, which is where Hamilton wants to be. And he should be able to outbreak the 152 with ease, and does. Oh, and put the bumper to Bill Lester on top of it. Oh, and Lester just about turned the Ford truck. He definitely put him into the outside wall. More contact. Retaliation for Bill Lester after getting knocked up the racetrack by the 4 of Hamilton. Lester did not like that. Hamilton clears him cleanly that time in turn 3. Lester trying to go back-to-back, but he currently is in 15th. We're almost halfway home. Not looking good for him tonight. Lester charges hard. Can't quite get to the back bumper of the 4. Chad Chafin, Hamilton's teammate, next truck ahead of him. Hamilton on the outside of his teammate Chafin. Lock the tires up into turn 8. It's probably going to allow Chafin to hold on to the position. Bit of a minor mistake there for Hamilton, nothing major. Thompson looking to the inside of Andy Lyman. Side by side still into turn 2. Thompson's going to have the advantage into 3. On the bottom, Hamilton finally going to get around his teammate Chafin. He locked the tires up big time. Sends it 3 wide. He clears Thompson. 3 trucks have been passed by Hamilton in turn 3 alone. Now to 11th. And Thompson brushes the guardrail, it looked like, in turn 5. Thompson sends it. Hamilton with the block. Wilson then a Robbie Young in 10th. Man, Hamilton's all over the place. He was going up through the gears. He couldn't keep the car steady. Benny Allen pulling into the pits at lap 61. So Benny Allen will pit. And I'm sure this is where the window potentially opens if it stays green to the end of the race. But they are for sure good to the end. That's a bit concerning for Hamilton because he pit 9 laps prior to this during the pit stops. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if Bobby Hamilton will be able to make it. Nearly had a fuel mileage race at Daytona in the Busch Series yesterday. We could have a fuel mileage race today at the Old Spice Speedway with how the cautions played out in the first half of tonight's race. Casey Cook in the 177 will get blown by in turn 8. Oh, nearly. Now Hamilton clears him. He almost pulled up too soon. Cook was hanging on, trying to side draft that right rear corner panel. And, oh, really wide. Into the wall and into the grass goes Casey Cook. Off of turn 1. Now he's in the grass in turn 2. On the outside of the racetrack. Hangs on to his positioning. John Wood crowding Matt Crafton. They checked up, allowing Hamilton to make the passes, and Hamilton's up to 6th. Hamilton thought about clearing Wood. Wood's still there, for now at least, and Hamilton will clear into turn 8. And Dives it underneath the lap truck of Benny Allen, who just came out of the pit lane that last lap. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. A big move for Hamilton. Now he's on the outside into turn 3. He'll cut down to the bottom, trying to beat Ryan Carter back to the gas. Slide job off the exit of the corner, grabbing the gears. And now inside the top 5, once again for Bobby Hamilton. Travis Kvapil staying on the racetrack. And he's nearly caught up to Hamilton as far as laps led. He's still 8 seconds ahead of Bobby, despite the fact Bobby's up to 5th. That's how good Kvapil is in the clean air, it looks like. I don't know why he said 9 seconds when it's under 8 now. But it's all right. Oh, we got a truck blowing an engine on the inside of the racetrack. That's Scott Bush in the 56. We'll see if he makes it back to the pit lane unscathed. It's going to be difficult. That's how we saw our first caution of the day, and that's transpired into a lot more yellows since then. Hamilton to the outside of Grigsby into the final corner. Going to try to undercut it in the middle. Pulls alongside Grigsby on the inside, clears him for 4th. Across the bridge they go, lap 66. Looking to see if that lap truck that was blowing the smoke is going to be able to get into the pits. And it looks like he will. We stay green at the Old Spice Speedway. No caution in the middle of green flag pit stops this time around. Who would I like to see in Almirola's car 2023? I mean, I think it's going to go to Priest. Just because he's in the system now. I don't think it's going to be DiBenedetto. I don't see it happening, honestly. Johnson now going to be passed by Bobby Hamilton for 3rd place on lap 67. So we're halfway home here today at the Old Spice Speedway. Only 2 trucks still ahead of Hamilton would be Brandon Witt in 2nd and Travis Kvapil, the race leader. I think if DiBenedetto goes to Stewart-Haas, it would be when Harvick retires, assuming that he still retires after the end of the 2023 season. That could be a good landing spot for him, considering he did run with Ford the last couple of years. So, I mean, there is that alliance, but who's to say that Tony Stewart-Haas Racing's going to be in Ford's, 3 years down the line anymore with the whole Dodge rumors. And, of course, the NHRA team of Stewart's is going to Dodge, so we don't know exactly what the NASCAR room looks like, of when they will change, if they will change manufacturers. Nothing's set in stone right now, although it does seem to be leaning that way. Thought Priest was going to the 4 when Harvick retired. Nothing's set in stone. Nobody's actually... These are all rumors with Priest taking over for Harvick. Priest never came out and actually said that, and neither did Stewart-Haas Racing. That's just what people were believing when Priest had signed with Stewart-Haas Racing. I personally think that he would take over for Almirola in the 10. You'd have to assume Harvick would probably be a good mentor for a guy like Priest. Because, yes, Ryan Priest has been at the Cup Series a few years now. He hasn't really done much. but his teammate was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And although Ricky Stenhouse is a serviceable driver, and he does have 2 Cup wins on super speedways, he's not that veteran guy that Priest can really look at, lean on for information. Kevin Harvick is that guy. So if you could get Ryan Priest in the 10 car while Harvick is still in the 4, even if it is for 1 year, that is that much more, not only experience for Ryan Priest, but the information and the knowledge he could gain in just 1 season with Kevin Harvick as his teammate versus not having Kevin Harvick as his teammate, especially when you consider that Almirola would be gone, so we can't really lean off of Almirola for information. There's no other veteran at Stewart-Haas Racing. You would have to lean off of Cole Custer and Chase Briscoe, who actually have less years of experience than Ryan Priest does. So I think it would be more beneficial, and that's why I think Ryan Priest would be going to the 10 car and not the 4. Maybe you could see kind of what Hendrick Motorsports did within the last couple of years with maybe swapping drivers with teams. You know, maybe Priest takes over the 10 and then takes the 4 over for Harvick when he retires, but drives the 10 for a year, at least to get the experience with Harvick as a teammate. I think that will be more beneficial for Priest because he can't look off of Briscoe for information when Briscoe has only ran 1 year, Priest has ran 3. Even Custer's only had 2 years in the Cup Series, Priest has had 3. And in fact, Ryan Priest actually beat Cole Custer in points this year, considering Priest has a lot worse equipment compared to Stewart-Haas Racing on an overall basis. And the fact that Ryan Priest didn't even have a charter this year, so it wasn't like he was guaranteed a starting spot in every race either. He had to race his way into the 500 and was able to do so. Well, I guess he qualified his way in, but still, he had to get his way into the 500 this year. So he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder all season. They didn't know if they were going to run the full year. I would lean on Priest over Custer right now, given what Custer's shown in his minimal Cup Series career. In my personal opinion, I just think it'd be a no-brainer. Because you look at who else is in the Ford pipeline developmental that reasonably could have a spot. You know, I think DiBenedetto is probably the next best guy in the 21, but we've already kind of seen what he can do in the Cup Series. And no, he has not had A-tier level equipment. People say that the Wood Brothers is the 4th Penske car. It is out of affiliation. But I think with Martin Truex Jr. winning the championship with Front Row, I feel like everybody now tends to think that when there's a team affiliated with a bigger team, a smaller team affiliated with a bigger team, they automatically assume it's that good of an affiliation, that it's basically an extra Haas car, an extra Gibbs car. Well, that's not the case. That Joe Gibbs Front Row situation was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of situation. And because Front Row won the championship out of it, I don't think you're ever going to see anything like that ever again because these bigger teams, yes, they'll help the smaller teams because they're getting benefit with money out of it, but they're not going to help them to the sense that they're going to beat them on a weekly basis like Truex was able to do back in 2017. Well, there's the pass for the lead. Hamilton has just ran down Travis Kvapil. Kvapil has not made his pit stop yet. Brandon Witt has made his stop. And at lap 74, it's Bobby Hamilton, who now gets clipped by the 24 truck of Kvapil. Kvapil tried to move him to get the spot back, but Hamilton holds on, and that's a lead change at the line. Lap 75, Kvapil has actually led more laps than Hamilton in this race right now, and Hamilton's going to have to get some of these laps back in the laps led category. I don't think it's going to be possible Hamilton will clinch 1,000 laps led tonight with the pit strategy he is on. He led a lot of laps early, but he has not led since lap 37 until just now. But anyway, the other 4 drivers would be Haley Deegan, who I don't think is anywhere close to Cup Series ready right now, and Riley Hurst, who I don't think ever will be Cup Series ready. Both those drivers could definitely prove me wrong, but I just don't see it right now. So that would make Priest the most likely candidate for the 10, you'd have to imagine. I just don't. Like I said, DiBenedetto is the only other driver I could see that actually happening with. But again, no guarantees. We nearly have trouble. Big stack up with cars trying to get into the pit lane, and I think there was a slow truck in the middle that Hamilton just lapped about a dozen race trucks. Now there's some contact into turn 8 up ahead with about 3 trucks that are battling for position. A lot of pandemonium going on right now as Bobby Hamilton makes his way through traffic since taking the lead. I think I've counted 4 bots in the chat already tonight. Hopefully that's all of them. Next single car team will be mine in about 25 years. Patrick, if you're going for it, I wish you good luck. I would just, it's so hard as a single car team now. Even look at 2311 at Trackhouse, how quickly they were wanting to expand. I don't think, personally, from a competition standpoint, it's a good idea to expand when you're a single car team. I feel that the single car team needs to run on a competitive basis, so that way when you start your second car team, you can have 2 competitive cars versus 2 B level cars or 2, maybe C level cars in that aspect, because we don't, I would consider them B level right now because they've only had 1 season and they were outside the top 20 in points at the end of the year. But that's just the day and age, especially with the charter system, how important it is to have a guaranteed spot. They're thinking if we're going to expand, it's now or never kind of a situation, because they don't feel that they can maybe get a charter. Again, we don't know what the charter situation is going to look like in a few years. I mean, the sport has gone through a lot of changes in the last couple of years alone, but it's going to continue to go through changes within these next few years with the different, with the TV agreement, the TV deal coming to an end in a few years, the new engine deal or package or whatever, the new engine's supposed to come out in a few years. The charter system agreement's supposed to end within the next couple seasons, so there's still going to be a whole bunch of major change in NASCAR coming in the next few years, and obviously we got old tracks that could be looking to come in, like North Wilkesboro still. We could probably see a few more newer tracks coming on the schedule the next few years, so there will be constant change still going on. We've only really reached the tip of the iceberg with it over the last couple seasons alone. Still going to have, more drivers retiring that were more relevant in the 2000s, because you got both the Busch brothers that are still racing right now. Denny Hamlin's been around since 06. Truex been around since about 05. Harvick. Hamilton kind of locked the tires up into that final corner. Everybody has made their green flag pit stop so far. It's going to be very interesting. Caution comes out. This is going to trap everybody a lap down until Hamilton ends up probably pitting under the yellow, but that's if he decides to pit. This is a very, very interesting circumstance for Bobby Hamilton, because he pit during the last caution. We restarted at lap 52. We're at lap 81 now. He has not hit halfway on fuel yet. Once he hits halfway on fuel, we'll have a better gauge at exactly how far he can go, but until then, we have really no clue. We haven't had a caution since lap 52 when Hamilton pit his second time, topping off on fuel during the yellow. So again, maybe he can make it, maybe he can't. If we get any cautions and he stays out, there's no free pass in this game. They're going to have to race their way around Hamilton. They'll have fresher tires to be able to do so. That's going to give Hamilton a 1 caution buffer, but if he chooses to stay out, they race their way around Hamilton on the restart. And then we get another caution. That's where Hamilton runs into an issue, because he either pits for fresh tires, but he has to give up track position to do so, or he stays out on older tires with trucks on the lead lap trying to pass him for the win at the end of the race. So if we get 2 yellows, it's a lose-lose situation, it seems like, for Bobby Hamilton. We get 1 yellow, it's going to help him save fuel. or it's going to help him pit. Everybody else gets back on the lead lap. We restart from scratch, but he still has the lead on the restart. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out if we get a caution or two. And if we don't get a caution, again, will Hamilton be able to make it on fuel? Because right now we are unaware if that is going to be the case or not. As Edwards has been blocking Hamilton here these last probably lap to a lap and a half, trying to hang on to his current lap. Edwards trying not to go 2 laps down in this race for the championship, because if he goes 2 down, he's definitely not getting back on the lead lap. 1 down, he's got a shot if we get some cautions going his way. Hamilton's got a little bit older tires, but Edwards has not been fast at all in this one. Side by side, Hamilton beats Edwards back through the gears clear as they cross the bridge and head into turn 1. Edwards overdrives turn 1, trying to get back to Hamilton. He's in the wall, in the grass, and now he's wide in the grass and in the wall again in turn 2. We stay green. Edwards gets back on the track, but he lost a ton of time with those couple mistakes as his truck continues to drive terribly. And now Hamilton's got a lot of clean air in front of him, and it waits before he catches the next lap truck. Again, very interesting to me that nobody pitted during any of the 4 cautions. Hamilton pit during the 3rd and then the 4th yellow to try and top off on fuel just in case he could make it. Because we didn't know the exact limit, still don't know the exact limit. Everybody was pitting around laps 61 to 70. So you could say that, okay, maybe that means Hamilton can make it, but we also had 4 cautions in that stretch. So 12 caution laps, they were able to save a lot of fuel. Hamilton still has not hit halfway on fuel yet. They've ran 33 laps since the restart. 34 when they get to the line. And a couple more corners. So if you're a NASCAR fan or a racing fan that likes strategy and strategy races, this is definitely your race. And it seems like the road courses tend to play out like that, but it is definitely going to play out like that tonight. With less than 50 to go, it's only going to ramp up more and more as we get closer to the checkered flag. Chris Proctor's number retired for the Blues tonight. It's pretty cool. Is he one of your favorites? I actually have my Henrik Zetterberg jersey on right now. He was my favorite player growing up. Retired a few years ago. 2017, I believe, was his last year. Him and Datsuk were my 2 favorites. Chris Osgood was always fun to watch. Goaltending also. Those were my top 3. We should get an Osgood jersey. Going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in tonight's race. About the next 4 laps. Tomorrow night's live stream will be back on NASCAR 21 Ignition. It'll be the Bristol night race, and coverage will begin at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night for the elimination race of the round of 16 of the playoffs. Tight playoff battle around the cut line. 2 drivers already locked in, including both Hendrick drivers, William Byron and myself, for the career mode. Those 2 drivers will not have to worry about a thing. But let's just say all 4 drivers below the cutoff line are within 4 points. And in fact, 9th through 16th are only separated by 18 points. So it is going to be tight, and it's going to come down to that final race at Bristol for a lot of those drivers to keep their championship hopes alive heading into Vegas for the start of the round of 12. And that live stream tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on KRC. And I will be running expert difficulty on that, but I will have the stability help on as well. I have not raced at Concrete Bristol on that game yet. It's the only track I have not ran, and that's because we were supposed to run it in the custom schedule season, but because I got eliminated in the round of 12 of the playoffs, that race would have been in the round of 8. We just simulated the final 4 races of the season. I have not ran there yet. I ran at Dirt Bristol twice on the game, but I've not ran at Concrete Bristol yet. Well, the good news is if Bobby Hamilton has to save fuel by the end of this race, he's got a bunch of time to give up to do it. He's still pushing hard for right now in case we end up getting a yellow just because we don't know the circumstance yet. He's hoping he can make it to the end from when he pitted. We're at lap 91. It's been 39 laps. We still have more than that still to go, so he's probably going to have to run about another 4 to 6 laps to at least have a chance to make it on fuel before he hits halfway on fuel, that is. Definitely the oldest he's been on tires so far in this one. Heading at the lap 37 caution. And the caution even before that as well. 2 of them. Thought for a little bit there we were going to have a chance to catch up to Watkins Glen for a possibility of having the most cautions in a race this season, and then it mellowed out kind of how it did at the start of the race. This is currently the longest green flag run of the race so far, from lap 52 to 92. 40 laps is as far as we have gone so far. Previous longest green flag run was the first 24 laps of the race before getting the first yellow. Just to watch the Blues with Pronger and McInnes. I mean, there's a couple other Red Wings players I really like. Those are just my top 3. Obviously, Nick Lindstrom played there for a long time. I wasn't really around when Yzerman was there, but everybody loves him in Detroit. Even Jimmy Howard was there for a long time. He was kind of one of the last mainstays there within the last few years. I think the oldest guy on the team that has at least been with the Red Wings for a while is Danny DeKeyser now. He's been there for about 8 years, 9 years. But outside of that, they've all either retired or jumped ship to a different team. I guess he had to keep one of those guys around. I didn't think DeKeyser was going to be that guy. Kudos to him for sticking it out. I meant to watch the game earlier today because it was on TV. It was a 1 o'clock game, and I didn't check to see who won. I think they were playing the Sabres. Of course, I was actually home because I'm off on Mondays to watch it, and I didn't watch it. Kind of slipped past me. Lap 95, still no sign of being halfway on fuel yet for Bobby Hamilton. I think he may make it. Yeah, it may be close, but if it stays caution-free, I think this is Bobby Hamilton's race to lose. Well, I should say to win, not to lose. The more laps we run here before he hits halfway on fuel, it's just looking more and more likely that he should make it. a long time on a road course, though. 82 laps to go on fuel. But he's passed that 42 lap mark since the caution, since the restart. About 43, 44 laps now. So now he's hoping it just stays green, knowing that he likely has the fuel to make it to the end. Don't want there to be a caution. Now you just got to hope the tires can make it that far, though, because he's been sliding them around a lot more this run, especially the last few laps. And the next closest truck, as far as fuel goes, to Hamilton, pitted about 9 laps after the restart. At lap 61, Benny Allen came into the pit lane under green flag conditions, and a few other trucks also pitted with Allen. Allen was inside the top 10 still. Six laps to go. Comment down below, you think we're going to get another caution tonight. This is the longest green flag run so far. Again, we have had 4 to this point. That's the big thing that's going to make this an interesting race again. But Hamilton can make it on fuel, so he's pretty much got a 1 caution buffer. We get 1 yellow. There's no free pass in this game. They will have to unlap themselves on the restart. They will have pressure tires to do so. They're not going to be able to gain a full lap on a road course in less than 30 laps. By the time we would have a restart on Bobby Hamilton anyway. Patrick says 2 cautions. Yeah, that would be the tough decision to make, though, as if we had 2 yellows. Obviously, track position means a lot. It took nearly 35 to 40 laps for Hamilton just to catch Quaffle from the back of the pack. Now, obviously, there would be, you would think, too many trucks back on the lead lap if we had 2 yellows, but again, we don't know. We would have to get the first one and then have to go through the restart to really be able to tell exactly how many trucks will be able to get back on the lead lap before we would get a second yellow. The more laps we run before the second caution, the more likely we're going to have more drivers back on the lead lap. If we get a caution right away on the restart, there may only be a couple that get by Bobby Hamilton. 34 to go at the line, also scratching the lap 100 marker at the start-finish line. Another mini milestone for the race, at least. Bobby Hamilton has clinched the most laps led. It is a 10 bonus point night for him. Looking to try and get a max points day. If he can win this race, it'll be only the 3rd race this season in which he has led the most laps and won the race. Slow truck on the outside of the racetrack trying to get into the pit lane. That was Ace Johnson in the 139, and he will be able to get there if we continue to stay green at Old Spice Speedway. 33 to go now this time by. And Billy says 1 caution. First lap truck in a while for Hamilton coming up. It's Wesley Schmidt, the 117, not Willie. Is there a Willie in the truck series? In this game? No, that's not right. I don't think there is a Willie. This is Wesley. Wes Schmidt for short. The West Man. Oh, man, big slide in turn 2 for Hamilton. Hangs on to it, slides it into turn 3 on entry as well. Hang on to those Goodyears. And 30 laps to go this time by at the start-finish line. Definitely the longest truck race of the season. I said this would go at least an hour and a half. It's looking like it could go 2 hours. This pace, I think that pace where we have 4 yellows there strung together kind of slowed the overall race pace down a bit. And there it is, halfway on fuel for Bobby Hamilton with 31 laps to go. So he should be able to make it, you would think. I'm just trying to think of any ways that it's possible for us to not make it. I just don't see it happening. I feel Bobby Hamilton should be good on fuel. Which, again, it's just shocking that nobody else pit. The only thing I could think of is they were thinking we were going to get a caution later in the fuel run with how all the cautions were already stringing apart. But that's just so risky. Because all it takes is one driver to pit, like Hamilton. The rest of the race go caution-free, and you're not taking... You have zero chance to win the race at that point. Especially if you're a driver like Travis Quaffle or Brandon Witt, who had fast race trucks, especially Quaffle, led a lot of laps. But I mean, they had to have assumed that we were just going to keep getting more yellows, and they stopped all of a sudden. Definitely a weird part of the race. There's that trend where cautions breed cautions, but for some reason the trend stopped right in the middle of the race for some reason. So it was, again, very odd. Another big slide into turn 1. That's one thing, though. Hamilton can still wreck this racetrack. He's been sliding around a ton the last 10 laps. 82 laps is a long way to go on tires at any track, especially a road course, for this fuel strategy to play itself out in the way that Hamilton wanted to. And again, he doesn't want to see a caution, so he does have to keep this thing in control. 100 to 110 laps on fuel in this game. That's insane. Just, again, it's so weird why they didn't pit. Hamilton slides in 3. Lap time is about a 1.3 second difference that last lap to what he just ran this lap. Or sorry, that last lap versus his fastest lap of the race. I'll have to see at the line this time exactly what Hamilton ran. He slid quite a bit in turn 3, so this lap time probably not going to be that great either. He actually picked up a couple tenths from the lap prior. Probably because he slid twice that lap. Slid twice 2 laps ago, but that last lap he only slid once. In turn 3 because he had a bigger slide. In turn 2, caution is out. Lap 107 with 26 laps to go. And it's on, wow, Chris Sweeney. I'm surprised they threw the caution for that. He slid going into turn 3. I actually didn't even see that happen. It wasn't that far ahead of us. He saved the race truck, but they threw the yellow anyway. And that is caution number 5. Hamilton going to stay out of the pits here to make sure everybody's going to stay a lap down. If we get one more caution, and even just one truck gets by Hamilton on this restart, which is very possible with him lining up to the inside, it's going to be interesting. Green flag back in the air at the Old Spice Speedway. Brandon Witt with the fresher tires takes off on the restart. 24 laps to go. Quaffle's going to get by as well. Hamilton's going to try to fight hard, but on older tires, it's going to be very difficult. He sends it into turn 2. He's on the inside of Travis Quaffle. Oh, contact with Quaffle and knocked him a bit sideways, but he hangs on to the race truck. And Quaffle will hold on to his positioning on the Ford truck. Hamilton just hoping they stay green. Fake debris. What were those cautions called in the a little bump again to the back of the 24? Only launched him a little bit further ahead though, and hurt the Ford truck more than the 24. What was it called though in the SRX series? The fun flag? Is that what that caution was? A fun flag? I mean, he got loose, but he wasn't any more loose than what we were in turn 3 like 2 laps before that. So that was very strange. I mean, it would just look like a normal racing thing where, somebody kind of slips up the groove a little bit, but kept it off the wall, didn't really lose a lot of pace. I mean, that's all that was, and brought out the caution. This caution won't hurt Hamilton unless we get another one that follows it. Because he has nothing for Quaffle and Win on these older tires. There is one attempt at a green-white checker finish if we did have a late yellow. So it's not like you would have to stay out if you're Hamilton late in the race. You could at least have the option to pit. And right now, there's only 3 trucks on the lead lap. So if we got another yellow, I think you have to pit if you're Bobby Hamilton. I think you got to give up the lead, restart third, and then you're on the attack with the fresher tires at the end of the race. Unless you can get back by these guys, because again, there is no free pass. So he could potentially trap him, but the only way he's going to be able to get back to the 24 and the 38 is if they battle very aggressively with one another, which is not impossible. And Quaffle overdrives turn 8 quite a bit. Hamilton closes the gap on him. Can't quite get to the inside yet. Sends it into turn 1. He's trying. Into turn 2. Bit wide for Hamilton that time. Into turn 3. Slides the tires underneath Quaffle. Trying to beat him back to the throttle side by side. And one mistake for Quaffle that last lap allowed Hamilton to close in, but you can just see how much faster those fresher tires are as Quaffle blows back by the Ford truck. Hamilton got really loose, locking the brakes up into turn 8. He's pushing really hard right now, 20 to go. He's trying to get back around Quaffle. Restall Cup, welcome to the stream. Quaffle pinching Hamilton into turn 1. Not a lot of room for error. Both trucks make it through the first turn into turn 2, and again, Quaffle hangs on. But now these two battle, and not only allows Brandon Witt to pull away a little bit more, but it's going to allow more trucks from behind to try and close. Hamilton slides the tires too much. He makes contact now with Quaffle, and Quaffle's going to go a lap down again. And he's potentially going to lose a spot to Ryan Carter as well. That really allows the 38 to pull away. And Quaffle must not be happy right now with Bobby Hamilton after the contact, you'd have to imagine. And Carter is going to get by Quaffle for third into turn 8. Hamilton still power sliding in turn 2. A lot of turns for that matter. Hamilton better hope Quaffle doesn't get back to him. Still that one truck on the lead lap, though. That's all it's going to take if we get another yellow. But if we get a restart with less than 10 laps to go, it'll be single file. There won't be any lap cars on the inside of the lead lap cars. That seemed to hurt Hamilton the most on that last restart. Obviously, the older tires hurt. But the fact he was on the outside going into the first turn also didn't help either. Witt's off into the sunset right now. It's going to be a great run for Brandon Witt, regardless if he wins or finishes second, considering he had a blown engine on lap 2 in the last race at Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. He needs to come out and try to look like a championship threat once again, because he has been all season leading up to that first DNF of the year. He puts pressure on like this. It just puts more pressure on Edwards and Hamilton to perform. And Edwards has had an off day. I mean, if Hamilton just has one more off day, Witt's back in it. Hamilton, 2 races ago, finished 18th. But a last place finish is even way worse for Witt. Plus, he was already behind Hamilton. That's why he's just over 200 points back. 250 back coming in. We'll take a look at the point standings again when we get to the end of this race. So I didn't have the graphic on the left side of your screen, so that's why we checked it out before the race started. Should hopefully have it back up on there in a couple nights. On the left side of the screen when we get back to Las Vegas in the next race. Or sorry, Kansas. Kansas is the next race this season. That will be on Wednesday night. The NASCAR 21 Ignition Career Mode tomorrow night. Live stream. Bristol Night Race Elimination Race at the round of 16. It will be a big one. One of the bigger races of the season. And if you did not catch it or were not aware of the upload and the premiere we had before the start of this stream, the Richmond race highlights on the NASCAR 21 Ignition Career Mode for the second race of the round of 16 is up on the channel. So definitely want to watch that before tomorrow night's live stream. Tyler Burback, welcome to the stream. Good luck. Yeah, your Niners versus my Packers. They seem to always play each other in the playoffs. And I will say that the 49ers typically have the upper hand over the Packers in the playoffs. I think the Packers are the better team. But San Fran's beaten them in recent years in the playoffs before. So I wouldn't be shocked if San Francisco won. Their defense is very dangerous. And the Packers haven't had a good run defense in a couple decades. San Francisco's a running team, so I mean that's probably the team that's going to beat them is going to be a team that can run the ball really well. That's why the Titans are so scary to me if we have to play them in the Super Bowl with Derrick Henry. We beat the Titans last year with Derrick Henry, but that was also in the snow in Lambeau in December, so it kind of played out in our favor with the weather versus the Super Bowl would be a neutral stadium in a dome. Right rear is actually starting to wear out on the front tires. I think that's just with how sideways Hamilton has been trying to get back to the gas in the second half of this current fuel and tire stint. Hamilton just wants to get to that white flag as soon as he can. Possible threat we go past the scheduled distance that Hamilton would make it on field, but I still think he should be able to make it no problem, especially with that caution we already had. And again, if we get another yellow, I think you have to pit if you're Bobby Hamilton, especially if it's less than 10 laps to go, because there's not going to be any lap cars in the way that can maybe help defend that lead a little bit longer. And honestly, we're close enough now. If we get a caution, we're going to restart with 10 or less laps to go anyway, so it would be single file. There's no way we're going to get this thing restarted again with over 10 laps left. They're coming to the line from 12 to go now. I've heard of Forza Motorsport, but I haven't played it, no. Slide into turn 3. Can alternate through the different camera angles one more time in today's race for about the next 4 green flag laps. 11 to go for Bobby Hamilton. He's dominated. He's led over 900 laps this season, and he's trying to win his 8th race in the first 15 this year. That will be over a 50% winning percentage this season. He has an average finish of 3.7 coming into today's race with only 2 finishes outside the top 10 in the first 15 this year. 18th place finish at Daytona and an 18th place finish at Texas a few races ago. Yeah, one more trip back to Daytona in the season finale. That's a little scary. The good news is I finally got over the hump at Daytona in this game, winning the Busch race last night with Biffle. But that was a Busch race. I still have not won there in the Truck Series yet. 0 for 2. 10 to go. Got our 5th bot down in the chat. Oh, man, right front started to go in the middle of turn 1. The car slid out from underneath Hamilton. Holds on again. Keeping the truck as steady as he possibly can. Hamilton has definitely dominated when he has led. There he goes wiggling again. The more he wiggles, the more you got to think he's going to have to pit if we get a caution, because all it takes is one slip up trying to block the 38. He's going to get ahead. He's going to pull away. You're not going to have a chance to get back around him. He's got 2 sets of tires left if he does decide to end up pitting. As long as it stays green, though, obviously he's staying out. He's got a massive lead. He should make it on fuel. Hasn't even hit a quarter tank of fuel left yet. We still got 7 to go. 8 to go, rather. Finger surgery reporting the bots. I was wondering what you meant by that at first. I only read the finger surgery part until I got into that next turn. You said reporting the bots. I was like, oh. Getting the finger cramps. A little smoke show into. See, I got way loose in turn 3. That was probably as loose as I've been in turn 3 all day. And that was far more loose than what Chris Sweeney was when that caution came out. Just saying. Six to go. Seemed like Hamilton was closing back in on Witt there for a little bit. I think Witt was just kind of maybe saving his tires up as much as he can for a potential restart, because he has driven back away from Hamilton the last couple laps alone. 5 to go, though, for Bobby Hamilton. Add on to this points lead, and it may be a pretty decent-sized lead in points over Carl Edwards. Gus Edwards was able to gain some spots with how the cautions played out. He was 2 laps down, though, when the last caution came out, so he's pretty much trapped 2 down. And he's likely going to finish outside the top 20 for the first time this season. The top 5 streak came to an end at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway for him when he got in an accident. Still rallied to finish 6th, despite taking a pretty hard lick in turn 1 in the middle of the crash. 2, really, a hard lick into the wall head on, and then another one from Chad Chafin when he came back down the racetrack. Three and a half laps to go. Hamilton's pace has dropped a full second from his fastest lap. Quarter tank of fuel left for Bobby Hamilton with 3 to go. He is plenty good. Plenty good on fuel. What a strategy, though, for Bobby Hamilton just to put him in this situation. Making it for a pretty easy ride the final, really 82 laps, I guess, since that second to last restart. What a strategy call. Bold. But as long as we don't get another caution, it has paid off perfectly. Outsmarting and outclassing the field. This is 4 team here today. And on top of it, they had a fast race truck when they unloaded as well. Qualified on the pole. Have led the most laps. It would have been close leading the most laps without the strategy. But he obviously had a fast enough car to compete for the win. And just got a few more turns to get to that white flag. There it is, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Yeah, top 6 streak coming to an end for Edwards tonight. Most likely. Half a lap remaining for Bobby Hamilton. He will pick up win number 8 of the season. We'll see just how many laps he led. He had to lead 103 in order to clinch 1,000 laps led on the season. I don't think he quite led that many, but he did lead the most. And it will be his 3rd max points day of the season of those 8 wins. Checkered flag will be in the air off the final corner. Bobby Hamilton is a winner at Old Spice Speedway. He has won the first 2 road course races this season, winning both here and at Watkins Glen. And now he'll head to the bridge to pull off the victory celebration burnout. I almost did it right there, and then I realized, oh wait, I need to do it on the bridge. Because why not? What other racetrack you got an opportunity to do this? Hamilton's been getting better and better, it seems like, at the burnouts this season, and I think the more and more wins you get, it tends to be the case. I think the bridge is closed to the public, and otherwise it might be like a 25-car pileup. Oh, backed it into the wall. Whoops. We'll pass inspection now. That's all right. No problems getting through inspection with that damage. I did that intentionally. No, I'm kidding. 39-second victory over Brandon Witt. 2 hours and 9 minutes total time on tonight's race. 101 laps led for Bobby Hamilton. 32 laps led for Travis Kvapil, making up the only 2 leaders in tonight's race. 2 lead changes total. 5 cautions for 16 caution laps. Brandon Witt finishes 2nd. Again, Travis Kvapil 3rd. Ryan Carter finishes fourth, only 2 trucks on the lead lap as well. Matt Craftsman rounds out the top 5. John Woods 6th. Casey Cook 7th. Bill Lester 8th. Chad Chapin 9th. Jack Sprague, who was involved in an accident earlier in the race, rounds out the top 10. And Carl Edwards finishes 17th, so he did get back inside the top 20. But a 17th place finish for him. He qualified 16th. It was just not a great night overall for Edwards. And we had quite a few DNFs. Jason Powell, Aaron McGee, Scott Bush. McGee was involved in a caution after he blew an engine. I think Bush was involved in a caution. Aaron Johnson, we saw him blow an engine late. And then Troy Perry, I guess, blew an engine at the end of the race as well. So 6 drivers failed to make it to the checkered flag. And we'll take a look at the updated point standings now following this race today. And I wonder if Witt might have... No, he's too far back to be able to catch Edwards, I guess. But they're a lot closer for second now. I was thinking the next race is at Kansas. I guess I was wrong. The next race is at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Let me look at that. It is at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now I need to check my community tab. Make sure I didn't have an issue with that when I uploaded the weekly schedule for this week. No, I have it at Charlotte. I don't know why I was thinking Kansas was the next race. My bad on that. I had it right in the... I don't know what that was. Yeah, I did have it right. I don't know why I was thinking it was Kansas during the stream, because during the day, I thought it was Charlotte. So the next race anyway is at Charlotte, the Infineon 200. I'm not sure why it's the Infineon 200 when the Infineon Raceway... I mean, I guess the Truck Series didn't race there then. But, oh well. 136 lap race under the lights at Charlotte. That will be the next one on the season. 8 races remain in the championship standings. Wait for the game to load. .136 lead for Hamilton over Edwards. Edwards still within 1 race worth of points, but it is pretty close to being a full race worth of points ahead. I believe that was the 3rd pole of the season for Bobby Hamilton as well, so I think we're tied for the lead in poles now once again also. That's going to be it for tonight. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. NASCAR 21 Edition career mode live stream for the round of 16 elimination race under the lights at Bristol. 34 days to the Daytona 500. I will be there, and we will be having coverage all week of the Daytona 500 with me at the racetrack. Can't wait for that. And obviously, live commentary for the Busch Clash. Just 20 days away. Countdown to the start of the NASCAR season 2022. And obviously, the live commentary season as well. I'll have the live commentary schedule up in the community tab within the next few days as far as what races I will be running. I'm trying to confirm that so that way I can stick to that schedule from the start of the year. I can guarantee that if there are any rain dates scheduled for a Monday for any of the top 3 series, I will be doing commentary for them. As far as the non-rain dates, though, those will be scheduled for their actual scheduled dates, obviously. I do plan on doing 20 of them. I'm almost done trying to figure out which 20 I want to do, though, but just wanted to make sure. And then I'll be going to 11 races again this year, too. So there's a few in there that I want to make sure I'm going to watch with my grandparents and stuff for traditional purposes. But outside of that, yeah, we'll be doing a lot next season. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you guys tomorrow night.